movies back.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Movies Are Back.
Chrissy boy.
Yet another podcast hosted by two dudes talking about movies. I'm your host, Christopher John, and with me is my co-host, Rhys Towling. You already heard.
Chrissy boy. What's going on?
Not much. How are you doing, Rhys?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying my coffee.
Yes.
Talking to my buddy Chrissy.
It's a nice Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
With not much to do, which is excellent.
Yep. Lots to talk about, though.
Yes, there is a lot to talk about. As I said, we're going to try and do this fortnightly.
Yeah, we're going to stick to a regular schedule for this one now.
Yeah, which I think is good because there's always new stuff that comes out.
Yeah.
Make it fortnightly, you can kind of pack it in a bit better.
For sure.
Starting off, little sad stuff that happened over the last 2 weeks. We did lose two, I would say, relatively important people in the world of film. First was Marcia Lucas.
Yes.
Passed away at age 80. For those who don't know, she was obviously George Lucas's ex-wife, but more importantly, she was one of the co-film editors of the original Star Wars.
Taxi driver as well.
Yes.
Played a big part in Taxi Driver.
She basically, her career started with like editing Martin Scorsese films. She did Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore and also New York, New York, which, God, trying to edit that movie must have been a nightmare.
You know what? Considering her career wasn't actually that long.
No, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I mean, it was a lot tragic for him, but John Cazale, who was in...
who's in like 5 films.
Yeah, he was in 5 films.
But amazing in each one.
All of them were nominated or won Best Picture, and it's like, and that's it.
There's an interview you can watch with Marcia Lucas. It might have been the last interview she ever did. It was just this casual chat she did with some guy like 4 years ago, and she gets into a lot of stuff. You know, her relationship with George now, her thoughts on the sequel Disney movies, lots of other interesting things too. So you should check that out. You know, it's a good watch.
Yeah. She practically retired from film editing.
She had for a long time.
Long time. But her legacy is absolutely like immeasurable.
And even you know, her last few years, she was, you know, old, but she was whip smart still. Fun to listen to.
She was also a legendary hater of not just like the new Disney Star Wars, but even the prequels. She talked about how like she went to go see those movies.
She talks about that too, and she just was like couldn't understand.
And I'm just like, look, honestly, I may not disagree, I may not agree with her, but I'm like, the fact that she's still consistent, just being like, I don't get it, doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, yeah, because also she worked on the original film, so I feel like in a lot of ways she knows what she's talking about.
She knows what you can't discount her opinion.
She was there, and like her. You know, her career as a film editor is fantastic, but I think it really is just the way that her and Richard Chew and Paul Hirsch were able to edit Star Wars. Like, the movie is what it is because of them. Like, it was her idea to...
So it was famously saved in the edit.
Oh, yeah. Movie. She cut out the original opening sequence, which was supposed to be some boring look at Luke on Tatooine. She was like, no, just cut to the action.
Yes, a terrible scene. And she added the ticking clock element to the Death Star trench run.
Yeah. She said that, like, that sort of stuff took, like, 8 weeks.
You would never know that was added in editing if you're watching the movie.
No, yeah.
You would never know. But, like... that's just a testament to her skills. So
absolutely.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Marcia Lucas. And the other one just happened over the weekend, which kind of hit me a little bit harder, was Anthony Stewart Head.
Yeah.
Known most, I think, notably for a lot of people, probably close to our age, for being Rupert Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But most recently was also the sort of the villain character in Ted Lasso, Rupert Mannion. Was he the coach of the manager of the other, like the rival team?
The ex-husband, yeah,
that's right.
As much of a prick he was in that, he was on the complete opposite end in Buffy. Both totally believable.
Yeah, this one, I think it affects me the most because, like, I watched Buffy a long time ago when I was in uni, like in my late teens and early 20s.
Yeah.
I think it was in for a very long time, I was in a Joss Whedon can do no wrong sort of era. So I watched like everything that he ever worked on. But particularly, I know a lot of people, when they watched Buffy like way back in the day when it was first airing, a lot of like female audiences probably attuned themselves to characters like Buffy or Willow or Faith even. But for me, it was always Giles. I don't know why. I looked at him and just went, I want to be that kind of guy, because he wasn't like a incredibly machismo type character or trying to like puff himself up. kind of like Xander was. Sometimes he was like trying to prove himself as a man or whatever, but Giles was very self-assured. Like, he knew exactly who he was.
He was, but they'd give you hints of what a fucking actual badass he was, and they wouldn't overdo it. But you know, I had a really close friend in high school. She got me into Buffy. She was a Buffy fanatic and stuff, and she really attached to Giles because she had a bad relationship with her own dad.
Yeah, exactly.
So she sort of, you know, she sort of transferred some of those. She wished she had like the dad like Giles is in the show, and I think that's true of a lot of fans.
Yeah, for sure. And it was also like, there was something that I really loved, and I've actually now just been listening to it over the weekend. They dropped a few little hints about his musical ability because Anthony Head was also a very gifted performer on
he can
stage.
sing. He can sing, yeah.
This kind
Repo, the genetic opera.
Yes, and he was in a revival of Rocky Horror in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then came back for an anniversary show. The clip of him singing Sweet Transvestite I've now watched like maybe 6 times over the last 24 hours because it's he played Frankenfurter in such a unique way that I've not really seen before. Everyone who tries to do that character is always doing like a slight impression of what Tim Curry did back in the 70s, but Anthony Head's version is very different. It's very distinct. He sings it the way that he sings it. Like, that's what it was. And it's nothing to show like showmanship or anything like that.
How do you do? I see you met my faithful handyman. He's a little brought down because when you knock, he caught you with a candy man.
He just does the work. And as far as I could tell, it's exactly the way that he played Giles. He never showed off in any particular way. It was always, he was a very solid, dependable presence. And particularly there's some musical bits in Buffy. There's obviously the musical episode, and I think that the song that he gets standing is probably my favorite.
One of the highlights, yeah, for sure.
But the little hints that they dropped at his musical ability in season 4.
Yeah, when he's sort of unemployed.
Yeah.
And he's just, you know, going to cafes and busking, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
I like to rewatch those scenes. He does a great cover of Behind Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes. No one knows what it's like to be hated. I have hours only lonely.
Now I remember why I used to have such
My
a crush on
love
him.
is vengeance.
Well, he is pretty good.
That's never free.
I was rewatching it because before I found out he passed away. I was going through my DVDs, I was testing them.
Right.
And I was just skipping around, like having a look at what they looked on TV, and I skipped to those scenes. I found those scenes again because I watched them so many times, particularly when he's playing Freebird. He's just playing the chords
by
to
himself.
it.
Yeah.
If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Well, I must be traveling on now. There's too many places I've got to see. And if I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same.
I remember watching that scene so many times, and particularly trying to remember how he would finger the chords specifically, to the point that he does, and this is just for any people who know how to play guitar, there's a way that he plays the E minor chord, and he strums it, but he also pulls like a little pull-off note with his finger. Again, you have to listen to it to know what I'm talking about, but I do that to this day. Every time I play those chords, I do exactly that, the way that he did it. So
and he had a beautiful voice and everything.
Incredible.
R.I.P.
He
to
passed
him.
away at 72, and that one's going to affect me. If I try and rewatch Buffy, that's going to be That's gonna be hard. We've also
Even
lost,
watching when he's singing Freebird, I watched that yesterday, and that was sad.
yeah. We've already lost Michelle Trachtenberg and Nicholas Brendan from that show. It's just
It's eerie because it's like 3 of them, and they're all very different ages, and it's been in 16 months. It's it's got to feel weird if you were in that cast of that show.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll move on to less sad news. Let's say that.
Oh, cool.
Most recent thing was it was Netflix. They have a new film chief. His name's Dan Lin. He was recently quoted in a New York Times, sort of like a big piece about how cool he is. Sort of like advertising, like he's a new kid on the block. He's gonna make Netflix cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Let's see how that goes. He has reaffirmed that Netflix will not work with directors who want theatrical releases. He said, quote, "There is a group of filmmakers who still want theatrical. Those are filmmakers that we've accepted. We just won't work with."
Okay.
He's talking Christopher Nolan.
Well,
That's
Greta,
mainly
Greta Gerwig, because she
Yeah.
is doing a Netflix movie, the Chronicles of Narnia books.
It's a new Narnia movie. She's doing
And
with
she
them,
got some deal to get them in theaters. And
Yeah, but that's an exception to the rule. That's not an actual, like... They're not saying, well, see, this is a test, and now that's the future of Netflix. But it's so,
yeah, but now it sounds like he's saying that's not happening at all.
Yeah,
Like,
I think this is also like a petty sort of like a whiplash reaction to how Warner Brothers, Netflix was going to buy Warner Brothers, and the whole thing was that was
good point.
Netflix was going to still maintain theatrical releases, but that's not happening anymore. Paramount has decided to up their bet, and that's a whole shit show that's going to see the day of the US courts. We'll see how that happens.
Nothing gets better from mergers and acquisitions in entertainment. Nothing.
They're just going to get saddled with a mountain of debt. But I think that because of them losing that, which would have made their company more valuable than any entertainment division in all of Hollywood, Netflix and Warner Bros. Together, that's a behemoth that like Disney can't even really compete with, I don't think.
I don't even understand at a basic level how they make money.
Who? Netflix?
Yeah, there's only like so many subscribers, and they're spending billions on
that's
this
the issue.
content that hardly anybody is watching.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, maybe it is just like a reality check for them that they can't keep trying to think that they can chase like any person to make movies. It was something back in the day. I remember when Netflix was sort of really becoming like when they came to Australia first and they started coming to more and more countries. It was like, cool, we've got David Fincher making stuff for us. We've got Guillermo del Toro making stuff for us. We've got all these different people. Martin Scorsese's making his new film with us because he was laughed out of. No one would finance him, but we, Netflix, we saved him. We saved his movie. Aren't we the best? But like, what does that yield at them? Scorsese's not working with them anymore. He's off doing Apple movies now because he realizes he can get a better deal with them.
Yeah.
He can, even just be in like some of their shows, just pop up and be like, hey, how you going? I've got a good relationship here. Fincher still makes Netflix stuff, but I think Fincher's just like, no, I just want to keep making my stuff or whatever.
Well, he's doing like a sequel to a Tarantino movie, which is very weird.
Let's see how that works out. But like also directors who want to have their movies in theaters, they don't need Netflix. We're not at that point now. It was maybe a thing like Rian Johnson obviously signed the deal for all the Knives Out sequels to be on Netflix, but he only did that because it was COVID and he legitimately thought there's a scenario where theaters could never open again at that point. So it was like, well, I still want to make these movies. I still want to do these stories and they're going to pay us like $500 million or whatever. So
what, is he not going to do any more of his Knives Out movies?
I don't know. Because there's no talk of him doing another one.
I thought he was going to do a bunch of them. He's done 3.
Yeah, he's done 3. I think the initial deal was maybe for 3 or maybe for more. I have no idea. Yeah, but I honestly want him to get out of that.
Yeah, that third one was in theaters.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah,
but it was in limited release.
Yeah, it was like
same with
1 week or whatever it was.
And that's what they're comfortable doing because that they do that for the awards stuff. It's for awards qualification. You have to get a movie
because they have to meet the prerequisite of the nomination.
They're not going to put out what was that new movie War Machine. They're going to put that in that.
Did you watch that?
I did watch that.
I tapped out after 10 minutes. I was like, this is stupid.
That was only in Australian theaters, but that's because it was filmed in Australia. That's it.
Was that filmed where?
Yeah. Somewhere in New South Wales.
No shit. Okay.
I could tell because I think there was certain actors. I'm like, those are weird accents. Like I just couldn't really place it. And there's another movie on Netflix called Thrash there's a shark movie, like a town gets flooded and a bunch of sharks start killing people. And as soon as the movie started, I looked in the background and went, that's Australia. I could see like fences and the way that like the roads are. I'm like, that's Australia. Sorry, nowhere else in the world looks like that. That's suburban Melbourne, for if I could throw it.
So I guess the thing with this is like meet the new boss, same as the old boss, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know. It didn't surprise me, but I think it's what someone that said something really good about this is Scott Mendelsohn, who is the former box office guy from Forbes magazine. Very, very insightful. He knows what he's talking about in terms of like numbers and how Hollywood operates, because he's been reporting on them for decades now. He said that Netflix can do as it pleases concerning theatrical releases, but filmmakers and theater chains, including IMAX, must stop pretending that their Netflix movie will be the one that gets treated differently or gets the streaming giant to see the light. Yes, the leopard will indeed eat your face too.
Well, they're just tech bros. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what they are? They're direct-to-video. They've replaced the direct-to-video.
It was always like that. That's what got them money, and they don't want to cut theater chains in on. They probably see theater chains as a useless middleman.
Yeah.
They just want to get all of the whole cut, which is whatever that subscriber price is. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, I'm thinking of getting rid of my Netflix anyway. Like, there's nothing new on there that I'm watching. Like,
nothing like that you think this is...
It's a must-watch.
Yeah. Well, Stranger Things is over. That was their cash cow.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching it for that, but now it's like... I mean, I want to watch Seinfeld, so I guess...
But you can sail the high seas for that one.
Yeah, or I could buy the physical copies.
Exactly.
I used to have the physical copies. I don't know where they went, but I'm sure I could get it for $10 at an op shop. But
cashies.
Yeah. Fuck Netflix anyway.
Well, okay, that's the end of that one.
Yeah, fuck them.
We did have the reveal of Lex Luthor in his power suit.
Well, not only that we got the reveal of it, like a shot, and they're actually filming it on the streets of...
Well, that's why they revealed it. Because they knew they were going to be filming
Get ahead of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did that
but I mean,
for,
it looks great on set.
Who do they do that for? I think they did it for Superman. They did it for the Superman suit. They revealed it first.
They did in like a still shot.
They were going to start filming in broad daylight in the public.
Anyway, my thoughts is I'm so glad it's not a CG suit.
No.
It's a practical suit, and the color, the design of it looks spot on. It's like right from the comics.
Have you seen the set video of Nicholas Hoult walking in it?
I can't believe he can walk in it. Like it seems like a functional suit or something.
Then, like, I don't know. I've seen that many Comic-Con videos of people build, like, you know, Mark 1 Iron Man suits or whatever, like, or even like Gundam type suits, and they're able to walk around and have it look pretty good.
But we're so used to, with these productions, they're in like grey pajamas, and to see like an actual suit on set. And the Superman suit has had some slight modifications to it. He seems to have like a big char mark on it kind of thing.
Well, I think the symbol's a little bit larger. Like slightly.
It's a bit larger.
Yeah.
Where would you predict that scene is in the movie where they seem to be fighting on the street? I mean, they don't film in order, sequentially when they make movies, but I still feel like it's going to be like an early scene. Yeah,
no, that's what I agree. I think it's like
before they team up.
Yeah, he shows up in power suit, thinks that he can take him on, realizes, oh, I messed up, and then the sort of... Because I think the main crux of this movie will most likely be they have to work together.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll get like the fight out of the way early kind of thing.
I did see someone who said that his power suit kind of looks like live action Buzz Lightyear, like the glass dome head. I'm like, they're not wrong.
I mean, that's just the design.
It's for sure. But also that suit has had so many different designs. It's not like
it looks like Master Chief and Buzz Lightyear sort of combined.
But I like it because I like that it is so bulky. It kind of reminds me of like Mark 1 Iron Man, in that his first suit, it was like this big hunk, like it was functional, it did what it needed to do, but it was much, much bigger, and then it became so many different iterations as it went on. So I don't think this is the last time we'll see it. He'll probably even change it, maybe even mid-movie, I would imagine.
I wonder if it's like a modification of the Hammer of Baravia suit.
Yes.
From the first movie.
Yeah, probably like the same sort of
The
technology.
Clone War.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that one.
I think it might be. Yeah.
Even like the dome head is kind of...
It has the same sort of look. It's just bulkier. Yeah.
But that one was entirely CGI, so I'm glad that they're doing
practical. So now they're going for practical.
So that's for Man of Tomorrow.
Do you reckon he's just wearing it for that scene, or like throughout the movie? I think throughout the movie.
They got to. I think that's going to be a major action scene of some kind, and then he'll probably have a refined version of it towards like a final battle of some type.
Yeah, with Brainiac or whoever they're fighting.
Something
yeah.
like well, it is Brainiac. It's pretty much.
Yeah, it is.
Unless there's some other big thing that shows up for whatever reason, which we'll see next year about that one.
We'll see.
Little other bit of news: Zack Snyder is apparently set to direct a remake of Escape from New York.
John Carpenter gets another paycheck. It's pretty good.
Was it the quote where he holds out his hand and a check falls and he goes, "Okay, thank you," and then continues playing video games.
Here's what I understand about Snyder. People really like working with him, and he seems like a very nice guy. Treats people well. He probably gets the movies done like under budget.
Oh yeah, for
like
sure.
very competent at that. But they're such fucking flops. Like it's been like flop after flop, and I'm like, why is he getting? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of it's related to the Netflix story. Like, how much money did they throw at him to make
this Rebel
Army
Moon
of the
franchise,
Dead?
which ended on the biggest whiff ever.
His zombie franchise,
His
they
zombie
got 2
went
movies
nowhere.
in.
That went nowhere. The DCU, like, that was a flop. Like, Sucker Punch was a flop. Like, you can go back 20 years and it's just flop after flop.
Owl, the Owl, the Guardians. What was it? The Owl movie.
The Gahul. I mean, I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it.
I have seen it. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm sure
really
it's
weird.
weird. Yeah, I've seen some animation. It looked cool, the animation.
It's like a really dark version of Happy Feet, except with those songs.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the
And a
same
lot of rain,
animation as well.
probably.
Yeah.
But he's doing this movie, The Last Photograph, now.
Yeah,
which
that's right.
is like a smaller scale, real world movie. Like,
When's that out?
That's got to be out soon, I think. I don't know. But that's kind of interesting because that seems like lower budget, more the real world, which I'd be more interested in that than him remaking Escape from New York. Like, why are you going to recast Snake Plissken as that?
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's going to get some no-name meathead who's not going to do a good job and is going to have an accent. And
someone someone I reckon who is the kind of actor that has a tendency to be really good in what they're doing, but also will say yes to everything. Like with Army of the Dead, you got Dave Bautista. Love him dearly.
Jaimon Honsu and Rebel.
Yeah. I love Dave Bautista, but he has a tendency to say yes to a lot of stuff that may not be all that great. I think he just likes working, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But, maybe you want a little bit more juice, I guess. Because Kurt Russell had that back in 81. I don't know.
I'm not about him remaking that. I'm not about a remake of it, period.
I'm not about remaking any John Carpenter movie.
No, just
They
did it with The Thing, Disaster, Halloween sucked.
The Thing,
leave it.
They've made a remake of The Fog. They've done a remake of Assault on Precinct 13. Halloween.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god. I guess that speaks to how iconic his run was.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. Just leave it. Leave it alone. They tried to remake it with Escape from LA, and apparently that stunk.
Oh yeah, that was even him remaking
Even
his
he
own
admitted,
movies.
nah,
It's still
should have just left.
Awful. And this one was a bit older, but kind of it stuck around in my brain. It was a just random thing. Sight and Sound interviewed Quentin Tarantino, and he once again went on a big old rant about how Hollywood sucks and too many actors are miscast. He described Hollywood as a flavorless sausage factory where miscast actors, audience pandering, or stupid shit torpedoes every new movie that he goes watching. He says that the pandemic has made it almost impossible for a new movie to come out that he doesn't pick to death. And the whole, I read more and more of the quotes. He's just rambling. He's just saying like, I hated this and this and this. But you know what? The movies that he did love? Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, which I'll give him credit. That movie's great, but nobody saw it. It was a huge bomb. I saw it 3 times in theaters, but that's beyond the point. He really loved the Netflix movie The Rip, which, like...
That was the most average shit.
It's fine. It's the best... It's like an above-average Netflix movie, but it's like an average movie.
Or a bit below average movie.
Yeah. I thought it was fine, but mainly because I'm watching on Netflix being like, this is the best they're going to get, really.
Yeah.
Like, for a lot of... If they're not an awards favorite, this is the best they're going to pretty much do. But the ones that he said he really loved were the Kevin Costner Horizon American Saga.
Yeah, that's right. I when he mentioned that, I was like, oh my god, yeah, those came out.
Which is... No, not those. That one did. He says that...
Oh, that's right.
The two of them. I'm like, but there isn't a chapter 2. It never got released.
Is that right?
It only got premiered at I think Toronto film.
Well,
one
he
of the
saw
film
it
festivals.
then.
So he saw it.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't say that's your favorite movie ever if no one else has seen it.
But
That's
he
not
saw
fair.
it. It's his opinion.
I don't know. I've just had this thing, like, it was the whole Paul Dano thing where he said, oh, Paul Dano sucks and he's terrible and There Will Be Blood. And, like, all of Hollywood just went, sorry, respectfully, you're wrong as shit. What are you talking about?
It just sounded like he had something against Paul Dano when he said that.
Yeah.
This feels like it's coming from like some weird, angry personal place.
Yeah.
And not a real place. That's why I don't really respect his opinions on things, because I love his movies for the most part. I didn't like the Hollywood movie. I thought that was fucking self-indulgent rubbish.
Same.
To be honest, I thought it really sucked. I don't want to watch it again.
I thought you'd like that for some reason.
No, I didn't like it. I wanted to like it.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
you know, Manson, 60s, Hollywood, Tarantino, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I love it? And I was like bored out of my mind watching that movie. And you know, he was fucking saying some nasty shit about Bruce Lee that I didn't like, frankly.
That's right, he did too.
Yeah.
He's always been running his mouth.
I think he's just in this stage where he's just this very disagreeable, angry person. And
Yeah.
he's he's a contrarian. Like with Joker Folie à Deux, he was like, I loved it. And I was like thinking, interesting, why? And he couldn't even give a reason. Like, it was just this rambling nonsense.
I just like his influence, the things that influence him. I get it. Like, it's exploitation movies. It's, you know, crappy movies from the 60s and 70s, like kung fu films and blaxploitation stuff. And that's cool. One of the filmmakers he loves, like really loves, he doesn't talk about it that much, but I watched the whole documentary about Ozploitation, about Australian, budget thrillers and all that sort of stuff from the 70s. And he loves the works of Brian Trenchard Smith, who he made a lot of movies. Most of them are garbage, but Tarantino loved them. And he said that Kill Bill, you know, obviously, you know, the sort of kung fu movies of the 70s were a big influence. But he says that is a love letter to Brian Trenchard Smith. And the thing for me is that, like, okay, if you have that as an influence, then be like that guy, i.e., make more movies. This whole thing that he's always had of like, oh, he believed so passionately that the best directors only have, quote, 10 good films. So that means he can only make 10 movies. I'm like, no, that's... When you're talking about those directors, like, sure, like Sidney Lumet probably only has 10 good movies, but that's because he made like 35. Sometimes he made 2 in a year in the 70s. But Tarantino's dragging his feet over his 10th movie and saying, oh, actually, I'm going to do this play called, what was it, the Popinjay Cavalier. He's going to do some swashbuckling play.
He was going to do some movie about a movie critic in the 70s.
Which, sure, I guess, but like that.
But then, like, there was no juice in that. I suppose he didn't get past the script writing stage.
It was going to be like influenced by Pauline. He's going to have Pauline Kael as a movie character, which that just sounds so incredibly self-indulgent. Like, that's at that point, you're just making movies for your fans who will eat up anything you do. But even then, I think it's.
But I'm his fan, and I've been feeling isolated with some of the stuff he's been doing recently. So
yeah, you know, it is absolutely like it just seems like willingly detaching himself. But it's okay if you want to detach yourself from the realities of Hollywood. Fine, you could be like Paul Schrader, who's just crazy. Like, he just goes on Facebook and rants about a bunch of stuff, but nobody cares.
He did a fantastic movie with Ethan Hawke, though, a few years ago. First Reformed.
That's
awesome
what I mean.
movie.
Like, you can have the opinions you have, but you got to still put up something. If you want to say what you want to say, cool. But still do something. Do the work. If you're sitting there just behind, like, you're obviously not behind a screen, but if he just wants to only just run his mouth and not actually, I don't know, make a movie as a filmmaker, I'm not going to give you that much credit, mate. Sorry.
Bottom line, I don't give a fuck about him as a movie critic. I will watch the next thing he does.
Sure.
But, yeah, just fucking, it's not helping.
See, I thought you'd be much more combative on this one.
Well, with Taryn, I like to do it with you in person because I just like to rile you up. Yeah. But this is my real opinion. I'm kind of over like this.
You don't have to have real opinions here. You can say whatever you want on this podcast, Rhys.
No, I like to say my real opinions, on the podcast. In real life, I like to be mischievous,
Shall we do a review of this fortnight's sort of big movies? Because continue to be, I think, the big movies that everyone's still talking about, which is Backrooms and Obsession. Kind of, I'd say both on the same level are like a really
Yeah,
dominating
from
conversation.
first-time filmmakers,
Yeah.
YouTube creators. I saw them back to back. I saw Backrooms on Friday night, and then I saw Obsession. So I was sort of directly comparing them in my mind.
Yeah.
Long story short, we'll get into it more. Definitely preferred Obsession.
I
But,
did too. Yeah.
I did like Backrooms,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Obsession was the one where I was like, oh, wow, that was quite a ride.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's just go into Backrooms first.
Okay.
Because I saw that first.
Do tell me what was Backrooms about, Rhys?
Well, I guess this guy, Kane Parsons, the director, creator of this movie, he had done a bunch of creepypasta, liminal space kind of little films on YouTube.
Yeah.
Showing the creepiness of these big empty offices and spaces and stuff. So it's the conceit of this movie now. It's set in the 90s, and it's about this sort of like a furniture store owner who's struggling. He's got like struggles with his ex-wife, financial struggles or whatever. He sleeps in the furniture store, which was kind of a funny reveal.
I did like that.
The way they showed that was great.
Yeah.
But he sort of discovers this little portal that leads to this endless series of yellow-hued office spaces with kind of off-kilter shit. Like a bunch of furniture will be piled on in the middle. There'll be rooms that don't make sense, like their layout.
Yeah.
And there's maybe even some creatures lurking about.
Something is in the shadows.
Something in the shadows.
Yeah.
And they make great use of like kind of grainy video footage, kind of cinematography in some of those sequences, which really adds to the unsettling feeling.
Yeah.
I
It's
guess you'd
also-
put this in the analog horror kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where I felt like that. And it's also what I don't think was as clear. I guess you can obviously understand this based on like the video cameras that they're using, or maybe some like the furniture. But this is actually set in 1990.
Yeah.
It's meant to be like that. I'm like, oh, okay. It didn't say that on screen, so you're trying to like
You see it in the
ascertain
footage.
that.
It says, yeah.
It kind of reminded me of how like It Follows is. You think it's set modern day, but there's some stuff that makes it feel like it's set in the past, but also there's some other bits that feel like they're from the future, and it's just kind of a bit off kilter. You're not really too sure where this is, even location wise. And I felt like that with Backrooms. Like there's some location shots that were very strange. They kind of look like I think there's a wide shot of like where the furniture store is, and the hills in the background. They look like that Windows XP screensaver just looks so fake.
Well, I assume they had to get around shooting it in the real world because it's low budget.
Yeah. But I think that added to the sort of the mystery of what was going on. I think when this starts, like I have no idea what was gonna. Like I'm not too familiar with the YouTube stuff.
No, I wasn't either. I heard that's what, and the trailer really intrigued me.
Yeah.
But carried very well by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Yeah. I mean, how'd they get him? I mean, that's a pretty good get.
And Renata Reinsver. Like,
Yeah, they got two great actors, to
like-
push this thing. She's his therapist, obviously, in the movie, and they both experience this sort of whatever this Backrooms thing is.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool thing because you watch the movie and they don't leave it completely ambiguous, but they still leave enough to kind of engage your imagination about it, like what it means.
Yeah.
Like what's going on with that room. You get a pretty good idea watching the movie, but they never really tell you as such.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that it still kept
good sense of like mystery and
it still kept it ambiguous, because I feel like if they at some point try to really explain like these are the rules and this is where it came from, I would be like, no, don't explain.
There's no
the rules.
like overbearing lore about whatever this monster like
Exactly, yeah.
such and such.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bits is when like he sort of brings his two shop assistants into the back rooms
Yes.
and they're exploring it together.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings into one of my main issues with the movie is that something about the flow of the story was choppy.
I felt like that as well.
Yeah, there's a big turn in the third act with Chiwetel Ejiofor where I'm like, I don't believe this.
Same.
This doesn't track at all.
Exactly the same here.
It's sort of it's unbelievable, and now we're switched to the therapist character, and I'm like, she's not very interesting. Like
No.
whatever's going on with her.
I feel like because it was Renata Reinsver, who, if people don't know, like we know her because she was in Sentimental Value and The Worst Person in the World, and she's kind of become like sort of like I always say like a shining star for like Norwegian cinema. particularly, but you know, very notable. Even now, awards favorites. You know, Sentimental Value was nominated for. She was nominated for Best Actress. You know, most recently as well.
You know, a revelation in Sentimental
Incredible.
Value.
The new movie she's in, Fjord, has just won the Palme d'Or.
Oh, right.
I
Okay.
can, which is amazing. So the fact that she's in this movie, I was kind of expecting something.
Yeah, it's not.
Not to say that I feel like she's going to do some big performance, or whatever, but you know, she's pretty notable. She's someone, to me at least. But I felt like the character wasn't really there, and I think you could have not gotten a lesser actress, but like if there wasn't someone whose name was so familiar to me, I don't think I would have that similar reaction where I'm like, I'm not really too sure who this person is, or if I need to follow them because we haven't really gotten enough from them, and now they're kind of like the central focus, but I'm not really too sure about that.
Yeah, I wasn't. The transition to that felt abrupt to me, and
I agree.
It did feel like a short film that was stretched too far to fit a feature length, and it lost its shape.
Yeah,
like,
I think
a bit.
That's and you know, to not to jump ahead too much, but compared to Obsession, I read I think it was a New Yorker review of the film. Can't remember the writer of it, but the point that they made was very succinct in that Backrooms, the way that it starts, the way that it opens up, it's wide open. Anything could happen, and it still kind of maintains that real sense of like you have no idea what's coming around the corner. And I think that really adds to the dread. But as it develops, it starts to get a lot narrower, and by the end, you not so much that they ever explain what's going on, but even the themes and the characters of the movie just become very sort of singular, or sort of like much more one-dimensional.
Yeah,
in
it
some
does.
way.
It does get flattened. I mean, it's literally to the point where at the end she's running away from the big monster. I mean, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, I really found that unsatisfying. Like,
It was
the
not-
reveal of that. I'm like, oh, it's just a big.
The reveal of that
thing.
monster was unsettling.
Yeah.
But then when it was put into action, it was just kind of silly. And
It reminded me of the Smile movies, the both of them, is that they have a very good sense of dread, but then the end, both of those movies, the way that they end is just a big thing shows up. You're like, oh no, but you can tell that it's like a guy in a suit or whatever.
yeah. So, but to this film's credit, though, I will say the last image is very
Oh yeah, for
creepy
sure.
as hell.
That's still stuck in my brain.
yeah,
as
for
much
sure.
As other things.
And that's and then you're kind of left with, oh, so that's what that place is.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
for sure, it's that.
Yeah,
you know, not to get into spoilers, but I loved how brightly lit the movie was.
Oh, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Looks amazing, and there's no, it's not telling you it's a horror movie. It just feels just like, I don't know, like a shot like a drama or something.
No, and I think that was...
Which I liked.
I saw this on a Sunday night, and it was packed. Like, packed
Yeah,
screening.
it
Like,
was packed when I saw
I
it
was
too.
sandwiched between, you know, a full row of other people.
Yeah.
But what I liked was that it was never really all that, like, quote-unquote scary. There wasn't a jump scare moment. It was just...
Not really. It was very restrained.
You just felt, like, uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not really... Oh, this is a bit weird. But that's it.
I mean, one of the scariest scenes, honestly, is when they're in this basement area and there's just piles of dirty laundry.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was the best in the whole movie.
It was the best scene, and it's honestly quite scary, like the way they did that.
I've said this before. I was on a previous radio thing, and I honestly thought when in that whole sequence where he takes the shop assistants, because that's all filmed with old video camera footage, so it meant to be it looks like found footage. Reminded me of like Blair Witch Project and that sort of thing. I kept thinking, I wish the whole movie looked like this, because I found that far scarier than just simple, like the normal quote unquote cinematography. Like when it's put through that analog horror, when you're not really too sure, like the resolution's not quite there, so you're kind of looking a bit closer to try and see if there's something around the corner or something like that. I find that more
But then you
scary.
lose that sense of it, the liminal space thing.
That's true. No,
yeah,
that's a
so
good point.
but there is a balance to that, I suppose, which I think this movie has in terms of the visuals, and I loved just the set design and how they did it. You know, it was pretty cool.
The production design's amazing. Look, the fact is that this is directed by 20-year-olds.
I know, it's amazing.
First feature is just...
Yeah.
I think about what I was doing at 20. I'm like, I couldn't make this movie. Hell no.
It shows a little bit in the dialogue sometimes.
Sure. That's on him. That's a different writer.
But it's still...
Like how you direct that is different.
The dialogue felt a bit like, I don't know, they're hinting at some heavy stuff, but it felt a little one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, and then sort of the flow of the story and how it was kind of told. Put me off a bit, but I'd still give it like a solid 7 thumbs up.
Sure.
I would say.
I'm probably a bit weaker in that I wasn't as impressed. Like, I think I got the aesthetic, and the aesthetic is very obvious. But after that, I just kept thinking, like it shows you at first, and that sort of initial scene when you discover the space and how the walls don't make sense, and how there's like shadows here, maybe there's something over there, all of that. But after a while, I just started getting used to it, and it wasn't nearly as scary, even as they developed.
It gets a bit too familiar.
Yeah, and I think that kind of took me away from feeling like, oh wow, this is like really getting under my skin. I'm like, okay, let's just keep going, and I feel like I kind of fell into a groove with it, which I don't think that horror movies to me. I want to be uncomfortable. I want to sit there with a smile on my face, going, oh no, what's gonna happen now? Like it's like it's a roller coaster for me. I think the best horror movies make me feel like, oh wow, okay, even if it's like the most messed up stuff possible. Like I'll still sit there like smiling, going like, that is so really weird. Holy shit, I can't believe you just did that. But I just didn't really feel like that with Backrooms. I'd probably say 6 thumbs up. But it's not a terrible rating. And honestly, the fact that it's number 1 at the box office last weekend and is in one weekend, I think it was absolutely the A24's highest opening weekend of all time, and I think at this point it is now the highest grossing movie they've ever made, with just in 2 weekends. It outgrossed Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is crazy. I
mean, that was a pretty high budget movie, though, wasn't it?
Not as high as you think. I want to say that was only like $30 million, so not tremendously high compared to this one. But
this one was only like $10 million.
But that one got to that point gradually. It built over like a year period and then went on to win Best Picture. I just think that a lot of this is very much fueled in the best way possible by the internet's, familiarization or sort of like, it is a trend, the sort of analog horror or liminal aesthetic. Like it is something that's come from the internet, nowhere else. You don't see this sort of stuff in even other movies. Like I've only just now, I think, within the last like 5 years or so, started to tap into that, because it was born from, as you said, creepypasta, forums, 4chan, that sort of stuff. Like this is a very new thing, and you see, like, I think the demographic for the movie is much more younger audiences going to go see it, less so like your over 35-year-olds.
Yeah, but I want to say though, there is something I noticed watching these 2 movies, there's something very annoying about the audience of these movies, like the actual crowd. Just a lot of people making dumb noises, and
I had that with Backrooms. I didn't have that at all with Obsession.
Everyone trying to be a comedian. Not really as much with Obsessions, but yeah, it's just like, is it a thing where people get a little creeped out and then you get emotions flying everywhere and someone tries to be a funny guy? I don't get it.
Like, I had that with I remember we went to go see Spider-Verse, and it was like the weekend it was coming out. It was like a Sunday night.
Oh, you had that experience with Across the Spider-Verse, didn't you?
Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse. No, we had it together because we went to Reading Belmont.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was like a shitty couple of people making fucking...
And they were doing that at the start. Like, it's usually just teenagers who are just wanting to yell at the screen. I've noticed something now, which is people take pictures of the screen on Snapchat to send to their friends. I'm like, don't do that.
I've been on a date where she did that.
Really?
I was showing her The Matrix for the first time at the theater.
Oh, nah, bro.
And she just...
I'm sorry.
And she did it once, and I was like, okay, I won't say anything. And then when she did it again, I was like, hey, don't take photos. You're distracting everybody. Come on.
It's just that reaction of like, okay.
Yeah, and then again, I was like, I can't ignore this. You're taking the piss at this point.
I've never had that before, but I have had... I think I've definitely been on a date with someone going to the movies, and they just go like, I don't understand. And I'm like, how? This is like the simplest movie ever. Like, even I'm watching...
Or it's just like, just keep watching. You'll understand.
Yeah.
Just fucking wait.
Yeah.
Like, God.
And that's on dates. I've even just been like, just with normal people, and they're just like, I don't get it. I'm like, what? We're watching the same movie. Whatever. That's just people's different opinions. But yeah, the photo thing is... That's a no. That's an absolute no.
Fucking annoying.
The desire to do that. The thing that you can't sit there...
It was a full house as well.
For
The Matrix.
For the Matrix, yeah.
We were
yeah.
right in the middle, full house, and you whip out your phone, and it's like blinding everybody in a 20-kilometer radius
Yeah.
with its lights.
I've done that when we've gone to go see stuff at the rival house, but that's only when like they show like the title.
Yeah, sure, and you're not, waving your phone in people's faces.
But I don't do that much now because they show a little picture before the movie starts to say,
Yeah.
we're showing Fight Club.
Yeah.
Like, cool. That's the opportunity to take the photo then. We
Yeah.
do the same thing with screenings. Like, show a little thing saying, hey,
the
welcome
poster
to the...
and whatever.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's fine. That's the opportunity. They take the photos now.
Yeah.
Don't do it like during the movie.
The
It's-
movie,
yeah.
for Christ's sake.
Yeah. But we also saw Obsession.
Yes.
Which, yeah, I loved Obsession. I will say.
Loved it. It was the most fun I've had probably all year.
Yeah.
Watching a movie.
This one, I'll do the story. You did the story of Backrooms. I'll do the story of
you get
Obsession.
into Obsession.
It's about this character named Bear who is clearly in love with one of his very good friends, Nikki.
Co-worker, right?
Yes.
They work at the same
I think
music store.
Yeah, and they also all went to high school together.
Right.
Yeah, him and
Little tight group of four of them.
Four of them together. And he's obviously just gotten in his head that this person who I've known for a long time, now it's time for me to make my move, and I'm just obsessed with the idea of being with her. And to be fair, she's played by actress Indy Navarrete, and when she shows up on screen, I immediately thought, yeah, fair enough.
That's the thing. It's like you believe a guy would have a big crush on her.
She's just very lovely, just doe-eyed sort of girl. She's Mexican and Australian.
Baddie.
I found that out, and I'm just like, oh, that's rough.
That's
rough,
you
man.
know what's
Sorry
funny?
about that.
Sorry to interrupt, but like she's a kid in Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
Lana Lang's child.
Yeah, okay.
And on that show, she wasn't bad by any means, but she didn't stand out. But in this movie, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
this is a breakout star performance.
Yeah, because so he's obsessed with her, and it gets to the point where he goes to buy a gift for her and ends up buying what's called a one-wish willow, where it says that you can have any wish if you just break this little twig or whatever, and the wish will come true. And, he thinks, this is silly or whatever. And he tries to shoot his shot, doesn't really work out, and he immediately just goes, I wish Nikki loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
Yeah,
And
very
breaks
sort
it.
of impulsive, didn't think about it.
Yeah, like-
probably didn't expect it to work.
Literally, as she's going to her door, he breaks it. And then instantly, like, you as the audience just go, oh no. Because it's not like maybe this is going to work out, like rom-com type stuff.
Instantly unsettling.
In that first scene, even the way that she's playing it is so deeply unsettling. There's this moment where I think it's now even kind of been shared around as a clip where she's in that sort of like obsessive thing of like, oh, can I come stay with you? And then she breaks, and then you get the sense that the real Nikki comes out and goes, wait, what the hell? And then breaks again. Like, she just keeps going back and forth for that initial scene, and it's terrifying. This level that she's got to where it's the same actress, but it's this duality of the performance that she does initially.
Visually, they communicate that, because when he makes that wish, the next shot of her is just this silhouette on a porch.
Yeah, just black,
looking like a
shadow.
monster.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh my god, I'm scared now.
Yeah.
Like, I like you said, they don't do a gradual thing of it. It's like she's instantly, it's discomfiting, and it only gets much more batshit from there.
Oh god, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, this movie was made, and this is advertised quite a bit. It's made on a budget of less than $1 million. I think it's only like
750 grand.
It's anywhere between 750 and $1 million, which I think $1 million maybe for like marketing, but like the actual production budget was really small.
Yeah.
And the fact that this movie got that kind of budget, and yet the studio involved decided, no, we're going to put this out, mid-May, going up against other big movies. We have the confidence that we can do that, and we're not going to get completely squashed.
Well, it's
completely trounced.
counter-programming, I suppose, because
Yeah.
there's no other horror.
But that's the thing. That's where we're at now. This is the weirdest thing, is that, sure, that may be counter-programming to something like Mandalorian or Masters of the Universe or whatever, but it's not. It's now primary programming.
Well, now it is. I mean, no one saw that coming.
No, exactly.
Nobody, these producers would not, no one would have, I mean, they were going to release this on VOD next
that's
week,
right.
but they were like, wait a minute, this is making so much money. Let's give it a 45-day theatrical window.
Leave it in theaters. This is what they did with Project Hail Mary. They left that thing in theaters much longer than it should have.
I was bitching to you about this marketing idea of Doomsday. Dune and Doomsday. I feel like Obsession and Backrooms are like two great complementary movies. not opposites, but it's like
No,
they've
course.
got the zeitgeist right now.
But that's what Barbenheimer was.
That's what I mean. It's the actual successor to that.
You need it
idea.
to be natural. You cannot manufacture. I'm seeing that now so many times. People are trying to manufacture, double features, and it just doesn't work when you sense that it's the studio trying to do it. I remember they did that with Wicked and Gladiator. They were like, "Oh, let's call it Glickid." I'm like, no, nobody, because
I forgot about that.
You also need to have the ability to think that
the audience chooses that, not
Exactly.
the fucking marketing people.
People who are going to go see Barbie, you have to have the confidence that if given the opportunity, they'll also think, you know what, Oppenheimer still sounds like something interesting as well.
Yeah,
Like
but again, people made that up, not
Exactly.
marketing people.
No, of course.
But Backrooms and Obsession, they are both horror movies, but their vibes are very different.
Oh, yeah, for
so
sure.
you're getting something different from each watching one of them.
I don't know if I mean, you did back to like one
did.
day after. I don't know if I
it was
could
awesome.
do a Obsessions Backroom like one directly after that, like Barbenheimer, where people went like one and then the other. I don't think I could do that. I think I would need a day.
Yeah,
to
I did
recover.
it like in a day, and that was perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, fair enough.
But I really liked the use of shadows in this movie.
Yes.
I thought the cinematography was excellent.
Which I think that goes to the lower budget, that you can embrace like darkness. You don't have to over light. Not to say the Backrooms does, but like you see a lot of like bigger movies. Everything's bright. Everything's in full focus.
Just boring, even lighting.
Yeah. And it makes it dull to look at. It makes it dull to feel. And I think horror has always done this really well. One thing I loved is that because it is a much smaller budget, they don't have the ability to do. Even Backrooms actually has a bit more visual effects, which I'm sure weren't massively expensive, but they still need like someone who is familiar with that. Kane Parsons has talked about how he learned Blender as a teenager, so like he knew how to shoot certain frames so that way they could maximize how visual effects are going to look later on. Fair enough. Obsession doesn't really have that. Obsession has a lot of like old school kind of tricks. I've seen like a lot of the car shots when they're driving. They just use like projected screens, like in
Didn't even notice.
Yeah,
That's great.
exactly. I kept thinking like, how do they do the driving scenes? And turns out no, they're just the old school. What's the word for it? It's just back projection.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
The sound design was all enveloping.
The editing specifically, there's a couple of moments of editing where it's to do with Indy Navarrette's performance when she's really kind of becoming very sort of demonic in some way.
I was wondering how they did those movements.
Yeah, there's moments where she either walks forward or walks backwards, or even like certain head turns where it's very obvious they've sped up the footage or even a couple of times reversed it. So she is walking forwards, but it's clearly that she walked backwards and then they reversed it because it's just this unnatural way of moving. I'm like, that is such an easy thing to do. That is literally just...
But it was so effective. I mean,
Exactly.
the crowd I was with, they were creeped out by that the most.
It's the simplest thing to just go into whatever editing software, select clip, go reverse speed, bang.
Yeah.
Like I've done that plenty of times with making videos or whatever. It's great because it's cheap, it's completely free, but it's really effective. And horror can do that for people. This is what I thought after watching Obsession. I'm like, that's what movie making is to me. Like, it's not, people want to see horror movies and they go, oh, it's too scary for me. I'm like, I don't get scared now. I get fueled by like, it's so amazing when a good horror movie comes out. It to me says that's where creativity is born from, is the ability to do a lot with very little.
Yeah, and I thought the main guy's performance as the...
Michael Johnston, yeah.
Yeah, he was great too. Because he was like sympathetic, but only to a kind of a point.
Yeah.
And then you really feel contempt for him.
I think also what I think is maybe something that's fueling a lot of people's mad interest in this movie and how it's doing. It's also doing really, really well. I think it's now made like 250 million worldwide.
Yeah.
It's also really funny.
It does have like funny...
Yeah, maybe not extremely funny. Maybe I think I found it more funny because I have a very dark sense of humor. But there's a moment where he's trying to use another wish willow with his best mate.
Yeah.
And not to spoil anything, the way that scene plays out is honestly one of the funniest things I've seen all year.
Yeah.
Just like this reaction this guy has after this has happened. It's like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or like a Curb Your Enthusiasm moment.
I mean,
Like it just pushes in on his face.
It's almost like a madcap comedy at the end.
And I think that's what I think also, people's interest and people's love for it is like, it's scary, but it also was pretty entertaining. Like it's a thrill ride.
Yeah, it's a thrill ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that just carries over to the credits. You know, the way they do the credits is pretty unique, and it's kind
awful.
of funny, but it's very mean at the same time.
And it's just, I don't know. I keep thinking now in the sort of the wake of these movies coming out and and Obsession, it came out and it made a pretty small amount or like a decent amount for its budget when it first came out.
It's been out for like 4 weeks now, hasn't it?
But it has grown. It's
word of mouth. I wouldn't have seen it. I honestly wouldn't have been on my radar at all if it wasn't for the really strong word of mouth.
This is how movies used to come out. Is that they would have a limited release, be good, people would talk about them, and they built.
But there's certain movies where they're just prime for meme material.
Oh yeah,
and this one definitely meme material. I mean, you've seen the memes everywhere.
I've seen them now. Like I've even just like Indy Neveretti's face.
Yeah,
just the sort of like downturn, the sort of like frown. Oh, it's horrible.
The no.
If this isn't a star making, and I mean like a genuine star, not like a scream queen type thing. Like I love her, but she's pretty much been in this realm. Like Samara Weaving is so good in Ready or Not, but she's kind of just still been in that sort of like genre thriller space. She hasn't really broken out as much into something much larger. I feel like that should happen with Indy Neveretti. I feel like she definitely has shown that, obviously good material, but like the way that she throws herself into this performance, I'm like, this has to lead to more. I need more from this person. I want to see her go out and get more roles like this that she can really sink her teeth into that aren't just horror as well.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a kind of an Academy Award nominee worthy performance.
If there was any justice in the world, yes.
Yeah.
For sure. But we don't live in that world, unfortunately.
But it is. I mean, you know, it's that good.
And I don't know, this was also a thing that was kind of stuck around in my brain, was that these movies have dominated the box office. You know, Backrooms #1, Obsession #2, making so much money a piece. You know, even on their smaller budgets, still record numbers are attending theaters.
What's great is getting people interested in going to the theaters.
Exactly, and young. That's what I was saying. The young people. Like, I don't want to not just make us sound extremely old, but you know, people who are like less than 20 should be going to the movies, and not because their parents are dragging them to the new Star Wars movie or whatever. Like, they should be going because they want to go. They want to bring their friends. They want, even if they're gonna, you know, say stupid shit or maybe take photos of the screen, at least just get that in the brain of, this is how you should go see stuff, not just at home, for example.
I would give this one 8 thumbs up.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would probably go a little bit higher, but I think 8 is a solid number. As I said, like, a lot of the conversations turn to like how these two movies dominated the box office, #1 and #2, and that kicked out The Mandalorian and Grogu. And you know, you
watch Mandalorian and Grogu and then compare it to this, it's like they're really out of touch.
Yeah,
like,
you see,
releasing
like,
this.
Maybe then you go, maybe Tarantino's not so wrong after all.
He's right about that.
Yeah, if it's about this movie, he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
This is the first Star Wars movie that has gotten kicked out.
So it's a bomb now, isn't it? It's pretty much
what
Mandalorian and Grogu. Like,
it's pretty much like, I would imagine that come next week or week after, when we're getting like Toy Story 5 and a Minions movie, it's going to get kicked out immediately. This is the first Star Wars movie to not be in the top one, to have #1 spot in its second weekend. It suffered a 69% drop weekend to weekend, which is the worst for any Star Wars movie. The previous record holder was Last Jedi, but to be fair, that came out in Christmas and it was kicked out. It was had a lot of its play kind of taken away.
But they're front loaded, like those big ones.
But the movie that came out #1 or #2 the next weekend was Jumanji, first Jumanji,
which was like pretty
huge.
Popular,
and then eventually got eaten up by Greatest Showman, which was a
that was huge as well.
But this had no direct competition.
No, there wasn't any other blockbuster action.
Yeah, if this was 2021, this would just have steamrolled anything else that came out afterwards.
That's what I mean. It's too late.
But yeah, and that's the thing. And I thought about this, that like, why is this? And my head's been spinning about this. But the answer is obvious. I think the main one is that with Backrooms and Obsession, they were experiences that at the movies you can't get at home.
Yeah,
you can't get that same experience watching it in a dark theater with a bunch of people, even if they're some shitty kids or whatever. You're not going to get that same thing at home. Whereas Mandalorian Grogu,
literally, it's a streaming movie.
It's probably the most obvious answer there.
Yeah.
But I think also, it's like, the horror movies, they do, instill like the idea of like this is unique. They make people think, oh, this is something new. This is something that is truly unique to that experience. Whereas it's just another Star Wars. To a lot of people, it was just like it was another Star Wars movie. That idea,
there was no hook to it.
That's what kills anything Star Wars, and we've seen that before. Solo got killed by that because they thought, oh, here's another one. It's not an event. It's not a big even if it doesn't work, and it's not worked in the past. Every single one needs to feel big. It needs to feel broad. It needs to be a 4-quadrant hit. That's why the original worked back in 77, is because it hit all markets perfectly. But this one hit over 35-year-olds, and maybe they're very small children.
Well, speaking of those demographics, how about Masters of the Universe?
Well, okay. Look.
I haven't seen it. This is what I know from He-Man. Yeah. I know the intro to the 80s cartoon. Like, yes. I have the power.
Oh, no. I think that's pop culture.
Yes, I know that. And I know I did see the Netflix 5-episode Kevin Smith bit, which is kind of like a follow-up to the original cartoon. Sort of like what X-Men 97 did for the X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
Not nearly as successfully as X-Men 97, but just watching it in isolation, I know He-Man fans hated it, but I thought this is a pretty enjoyable, sword and sorcery fantasy thing. I enjoyed it well enough, but the look of this movie, you can tell me more about it. I just thought, they're going to have action scenes that are splashy, beautiful, fabulous renditions of the cheap 80s cartoon. And in between that, it's just going to be like a bunch of postmodern humor, and that's pretty much what the movie will be. And I don't know, not as much into that.
Postmodern is an interesting word. I don't know if I would describe the humor
like ironic or satirical, or
it's kind of ironic, but not in the way that I think people got kind of poisoned by with like Marvel movies.
It seems like that. Like
my only sort of familiarity with Masters of the Universe was not the original cartoon or even the Netflix stuff that they've done recently. It was actually the Robot Chicken parodies.
Oh, they did, yes.
Just the name, like I know what a Beastman is, and I know Skeletor and He-Man and Grey Skull and Eternia and Man-at-Arms and Many Faces, the guy that can change his face.
He's Prince Adam, and then he becomes He-Man when he has a sword.
Which I've also seen all the videos. It's also a metaphor for him coming out. He-Man's gay, and he's been gay for a long time.
No, that's a tacked-on internet thing. That's not...
He's wearing a big-ass pink shirt. Anyway.
Doesn't matter.
He's not gay. He's not in this movie, and I think maybe that was a smart idea to not kind of lean into that, because I feel like you might have alienated some people, because it's not... It's like the Dumbledore gay thing. It's like...
Yeah, but Dumbledore was gay. He-Man is not gay.
I don't know. There's a whole different conversation.
It's gay coded.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean he is gay.
That's not part of this movie, and I'm happy that they didn't. Not because I don't think that that's good. I just think that it may not have fit. I don't think it would have fit with the tone. The tone of this movie is so much more family friendly than Mandalorian and Grogu. I would say that if you're a parent out there and you want to take your kids to go to the movies just in general, don't take them to the Star Wars movie. Take them to Masters of the Universe.
Frankly, this seems more fun. Masters of the Universe.
It is. I've seen it now, and I could say that, yes, the humor sometimes gets a little bit too much. They sometimes maybe go for the joke a bit too much, but not in that postmodern sort of ironic way that I think, even though I disagree with this in total, I think that Marvel movies very much kind of poison people into thinking that that's how all blockbusters should be, that it should have like a big action sequence and then have someone go like, that's not good, and then run away. It's like, it doesn't do that too much. What I like though is that it very much embraced the stupidity of the animated series. The animated series was only created to sell action figures. The same as Transformers.
Yeah, it's commercial, yeah.
But it embraces that by having, for example, all the names, all the characters. You've got characters named Fisto and Ram Man and Mechaneck. The only reason why they're named that in the movie is because He-Man called them that when he was a child, and they've never heard that before. They have their own names, which we actually never hear. But he gets abandoned, he gets sent back to Earth to be safe or whatever, and then eventually makes his way back to this land of Eternia, which is in, I think, like thousands of years in the future on another galaxy or something. It's crazy.
It's sort of ill-defined.
So he's still got kind of a childlike sensibility to everything. He's this very large man, but with kind of like a childlike brain, because he's still stuck in what it felt like to be 8 years old, seeing all these great big ships and creatures in this wonderful world. And he's been stuck on Earth for 15 years. And when
I guess the joke is of that too, he has the most humdrum job imaginable.
Yes,
like
just
he's
human
not
resources.
Human resources.
Yeah,
like you'd think, he'd be a rugby player or something.
Exactly.
But he's a human
there's a couple
resources.
of unbelievable elements. Ones where I'm like, okay, I don't really understand that. Like, why is it that his sword gets lost and how is he able to find it? Because he just finds it randomly. It's never really explained. I think that might have been something that was in an initial script that hasn't really followed through. But again, it's not a big thing. You can kind of just keep up like, all right, he gets it. There you go. We don't need to hang on too much in the Earth scenes because they're actually not the most interesting part of the movie.
No, you don't want the Earth scenes.
When he finally gets back to Eternia, it still kind of builds up this idea of like, is he actually going to realize himself? But even when he does, and they've now revealed this, the scene of him actually doing, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, and then turns massive and has like the effects and smoke and lightning and gets big. He literally does get bigger when he does that, which I thought was very funny, that he just gets muscles and he's like, oh, now I can do it. It kind of reminded me of like Captain America. But the funny part is that before that, it's Nicholas Galatzine who plays He-Man, who got really, really big for this movie. He was already a bit of a lanky guy. He got really big for this movie, but before he turns into He-Man, they kind of try and dress him down to make him look a lot scrawnier, but I'm like...
Probably not successfully.
He looks big.
Yeah.
He was in The Sheep Detectives recently, this random movie that I thought was quite good, and the whole time they try and do the same thing, trying to dress him down in petticoats or whatever. I'm like, no, I can see that he's
You can't
big.
really hide the shoulders and the frame.
Oh, no. And also his butt is like really big as well. Like, there's a bit where he climbs over a car in The Sheep Detectives. I'm like, God damn. He's just like, you can clearly
Caked
tell.
out.
Oh, yeah. It was just very funny that he was able to do that. I swear, honestly, with no appreciation of the original cartoons and the characters, I still really enjoy this movie because it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. Some of it's very silly. Some of the dialogue is a bit cringe. Some of the humor doesn't really work. But it's the sensibility behind it. There is like a full embracing of what this cartoon meant to people back in the day and how it can just be completely silly but totally enjoyable, thoroughly entertaining, adventure sci-fi action romp with a incredible needle drop that I don't want to spoil for anybody who actually wants to go see this movie.
We know what it is.
I swear, I felt like I was 8 years old again, just thinking, if I saw this when I was a child, this would have been the thing I was obsessed with the most. I wish I had. It's the same thing I had when I saw the most recent Transformers 1 or the Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem. I just kept thinking, like, this is the best version of this. And it sucks because those movies did not do very well. Like, they did okay at best. And I feel like this might happen again. So, like, this is exactly what these franchises have always deserved. But unfortunately, it might be too late at this point. These are all 80s things that, sure, fans are going to absolutely froth over and say, like, this is the best thing we've ever gotten. But how much is that going to translate to just your general audiences? And I've been singing the praises. I've been trying to tell, normal people about how pretty good this movie is. And you should go watch it. It's a good, fun time. Just the same as any Marvel movie that you took a crack on. But I don't know. It doesn't seem to have that same kind of ability to cross to people to say, hey, this is actually worth it. It felt like that with maybe, your Avengers and Captain America and Thor and stuff. But, like, this is better than the last 3 Thor movies, for sure.
Better than Thor Ragnarok?
Okay, maybe not. I don't know. I would say it's on the same level. They both do.
Okay.
They both do humor, like, a lot. Maybe sometimes too much.
Yeah.
But I would actually no. That's a very good. I didn't even think about that. This is probably the same to me. Maybe not to others, but to me, as Thor Ragnarok. Very enjoyable, very fun, very silly.
How is Jared Leto as Skeletor? I've heard he's good.
Here's the weird thing. He's actually really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I don't have to look at his face.
Okay.
He plays Skeletor.
What's wrong with his face?
I don't like, because he just looks like a guy that if he wasn't an actor, he'd try and sell you raw milk online. Okay? He looks like someone who makes his own furniture that's actually quite crap. But he looks like a van TikToker. All right.
Obnoxious looking.
Yes, who's also had 3 divorces and actually secretly has 2 kids.
I didn't think any of that when I saw him in Blade Runner. Thought he was good in that.
No, Blade Runner's different. Blade Runner's different because he's playing a real creep. But when he's playing like Tron Ares...
Oh, yeah.
No.
No.
I'm sorry. No. You're playing a computer program, but you look like hipster Jesus. You know, you look like what Russell Brand wants to look like now. Okay?
Yeah, true.
So
You got to admit, he's a good-looking guy for 52.
I don't know. It's also the whole rock star thing. He wants to be a rock star, but his music's really crap. And I should know because I used to listen to it a lot when I was
I've never
20.
heard a 30 seconds from Mars song, and I don't plan to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's beyond the point. He's really good in this, I think, because you don't have to look at him. You just listen to him, and it just sounds like Skeletor. Not in that sort of like high-pitched, like, nah, He-Man, nah. Like, not that. It's more of this sort of like faux Shakespeare type thing. But he's also, again... I like that they didn't just make him a generic villain, like we've seen with...
Well, no, Skeletor kind of endured as an icon because he's so particular.
Campy. He's campy.
He's very campy and he's very catty.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a dick in a very funny way.
He has different costumes in this movie. I'm like, oh, no, this is... They want to put that in there. That feels like a meme. Like, they want to put that in there to be like, we want to appeal to that. Not in that sort of, like, you know, insipid way where they don't understand it. No, I feel like they fully understand the appeal of this character and they want to lean into it. It would be like if they did Starscream in a new Transformers movie and they put him in the crown again, because that was this whole thing for the fans of, like, King Starscream. You know, that sort of campiness, I think, is completely inherent to the character. And seeing that was a bit weird because I couldn't understand what I was watching because I don't have the context. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm realizing, no, I actually really like that. I think it really, really fits.
I like the red eyes they give him, or the beads of light in his eye. Seems like
Visually,
a good design.
we're talking
choice.
about, you know, Obsession and Backrooms, and visually they are very well done. This is one of the best looking blockbusters that I've seen in terms of like what a big dumb fun popcorn summer blockbuster
for what it's going for.
It looks incredible. There is so many. There's a specific scene where they're all kind of, the characters are stuck in a forest and the sun is setting like as the dialogue is coming, as they're doing the dialogue scenes, and it's just this big warm orange glow hitting their faces. Everyone looks perfect. I'm like, why can't we have
more of
movies?
that, please?
Yes, absolutely.
More of that. So they don't do the grey overcast sky in Eternia?
Not in a single moment.
I'm so sick of that.
There's not even that sort of like very generic sort of like smoke and haze to hide like bad CGI.
I'm tired of that. So they don't do that?
No.
You're actually selling me. I'm going to check out the movie.
I really liked it. The final battle between He-Man and Skeletor, I think some of it's even in the trailers and stuff. It is just them. Like, there's still a lot of visual effects stuff that happens, but that's icing on the cake. You can still tell.
But it's a simple climax, like it's a showdown with the villain kind of
There's
thing.
even like, I would even say that there's probably some anime references. I don't know specifically what, but it felt like that sort of really like big embracing of what cartoon energy feels like, where you can have like impact frames and you can slow it down and really feel like the impact of a punch or a sword strike or something like that. I think it also helps that the director of this movie is Travis Knight. He came from animation. He's done, stop motion animation movies, Kubo and the Two Strings, but he also directed Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's not an amazing movie, but I like it quite a bit. It's fine. I think that that's on the same level in that that movie gave a lot of Transformers fans exactly what they wanted. It's a bit silly. It's maybe a bit too...
the opening 5 minutes of that movie on Cybertron fucking rocked.
I would say that, very similarly. Like, the opening of Master of the Universe felt like that. I'm like, oh my god, it's Trapjaw. I don't know who the hell that guy is, but he looks pretty cool.
Because that was the movie where you're like, okay, he's putting me in the 80s Transformers cartoon, but with like a modern sheen perfectly.
Yeah. And I think the Master of the Universe does pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
I solidly recommend it. Again, it may be just a little bit too humor-filled for some audiences, but I haven't really heard a lot of people complaining about that, like general audiences, maybe some critics.
Was it a full theater?
It was. When I went like first 6 o'clock on a Thursday at like a much bigger
6
cinema.
p.m.
Yeah, and it was pretty well sold, I think. I can't really say what the audience response was, but I had a dad with his son next to me, and there's certain moments where I could tell he was leaning over to kind of explain, like, that's the guy from da-da-da. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, he's had no idea what he's watching, but the dad's just like, I've always wanted this.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old, but I feel like I'm 10.
Yeah.
Also, the score. The score is amazing. It was done by
Brian May is doing some.
Yeah, he does the
work
guitar
on it.
parts. It's also done by Daniel Pemberton, who recently did Project Hail Mary. So if you like the score from that, it's still good stuff there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you give
I'd say
that?
7 thumbs up. For
7 thumbs up.
the
So
Master Universe. What have you watched recently or done recently, Rhys?
I finished Spider-Noir, the Nick Cage Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
Where true to its name, he's it's sort of a black and white detective 1930s show, but he's Spider-Man. I thought it was going to be like the version from Spider-Verse that Nick Cage plays.
Yeah, I thought, is it not?
It's not. It's completely not. Because in that movie, it's sort of like a funny idea. Like, wouldn't it be funny? Nick Cage is this wacky detective,
of course.
but it's played fairly seriously in this show, and the origin story is all different and stuff like that. It's has a lot in common with monster movies and like sort of those, obviously in the name, film noir movies from the 40s. Absolutely brilliant. I thought it was one of the truest Spider-Man adaptations ever.
Really?
Ever. Like it's an original story, so it has its own mythology.
Yeah.
But the way it hits the core tenets of those comic books, it's absolutely faithful.
Yeah.
So in that way, he's not even called Spider-Man in the show. He's called the Spider,
Okay, that's kind of cool.
like the Shadow kind of thing, right?
I think I dig that a lot.
Yeah. And he's he kills in the show. He's not indiscriminately killing or anything, but he has no problem with it. And his origin story is that he was like a war veteran, and there's experiments with prisoners of war. He gets caught up in that. That's how he gets the spider powers.
I think I've seen some manner of a clip of that.
Yeah, so they've got like Black Cat, Sandman, like everyone from the comics, but they give them these sort of 30s inflected old school stories.
Yeah, okay.
And it's 8 episodes and it wraps up. So if they didn't do any more episodes, you'd be perfectly content. It's like a full story.
How long are the episodes?
They range from about 40 minutes to about 55 minutes.
Okay, so it's a little bit more of... It's less like a adventure serial, but it's more like an ongoing sort of... Like, this is the story. Like, they've kind of mapped out the story in terms of... It's not like a... It doesn't feel like, this is this episode and it's his little adventure here. Like, it's a full story.
No, yeah, it's a full story.
Okay.
But honestly, with this premise, like the way they've set up the characters and the setting, you could just do like 100 episodes. Like, it's such a great little supporting cast he has.
Yeah, okay.
And, Nick Cage, you'd expect him to sort of ham it up. And he certainly does. But he really crafts a sort of a believable, heartfelt character.
That's what I've always loved about him, is that, as much as a notable actor and he's, had a very storied career and he's very dedicated to the, craft of storytelling and all that and acting, and gets very into his head about, having like amulets sewn into his clothing to like, summon the spirits of what great acting is. He's also a comic book nerd. His name is Nicolas Cage, and he specifically named himself Nicolas Cage, not Nicholas Coppola, which is his real name.
Yeah, you got
because of Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, yeah.
And he's voiced Batman. He's voiced he's voiced Superman. Sorry, he almost was Superman back in the 90s. He's voiced Spider-Man Noir. He's been Ghost Rider. Like, I reckon that if you give him a decent idea of what something could be, and a decent idea of what the character is, as we've now clearly seen, he'll be in an Amazon Spider-Man series and give it his all.
And there's a great antagonist, Brendan Gleeson as a gangster Silvermane.
Now that's cool.
Man, he is awesome in the show.
Excellent. I'm so happy that Brendan Gleeson is in a comic book thing and they don't just waste him.
No, he's
too good to be wasted.
He's almost a second main character.
Okay.
Like, there's given a lot of importance to him. But honestly, Tobey Maguire's my favorite Spider-Man. Nick Cage is right next to him.
Really? Wow.
Honestly, much better than the Tom Holland movies, the Andrew Garfield shit.
Okay.
I sort of personally resonate it more than the Spider-Verse movies, even though they're fantastic.
Is that also because you are, how do I put this lightly, old and craggy?
Yeah, no, that's exactly... You are joking, but you are touching on something I was about to say, whereas, like, I'm sick of them doing high school Spider-Man.
True.
They have burnt that well, and there's so much more with him as an adult. And in this, he's like an adult man, with adult problems.
Which I'm excited to see that with Brand New Day. That he like that's
exactly. That's the
Tom
reason
Holland.
I'm looking forward to it.
And Tom Holland's now 30, so you kind of get a bit more.
I hope his performance is modulated accordingly.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will be.
I'm sure it could also. I feel like, and we've now there's some recent stuff where he said that him and Zendaya were very much more involved with how this would play out, like, for their character. They know these characters a bit better now.
He has a
than they
better
did
say.
Yeah, in 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 2015 when he first appeared.
Yeah.
Did you watch Spider-Noir in black and white or color?
Black and white.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch it again, so I
Okay.
will watch it in, they call it true hue.
Yes.
Where it's like very technicolor, saturated colors. I assume that'll change the vibe, but you should watch this in black and
I've
white.
seen the clips of it in color, and I think to the show's credit, it doesn't just, say, oh, okay, we're going to shoot it this way, and then we'll desaturate, and there you go, it's black and white. It feels like it can be enjoyed on the same level in both versions.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I've ever... I've seen movies that are in color, and then they do a black and white version, and I see it, I'm like, nah, it's not like Mad Max Fury Road. Like, that is such an incredible, colorful film. But I've seen some bits of, like, the Blood and Chrome version, where it's black and white, and it doesn't really fit. It doesn't feel the same. It just feels like they went, all right, turn saturation down, ta-da, it's black and white.
I don't know why you'd want to watch Fury Road in black and white.
I don't know. They released it like that. They did Logan. They've done, like...
Logan I kind of see, but
kinda.
Mad Max, no.
They did Parasite in black and white. I think...
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, with this Spider-Noir thing, I mean, he's not Spider-Man that much. It's more of a detective show.
Yeah, okay. And to that extent, like, I would want it to be in... And also, Nicolas Cage said this, that they did in black and white because that was his idea. He thought this was going to actually, like, fit for the character the best, the world and everything. But they did it in color because he said, I don't think kids are going to understand why it's in black and white, but he hopes that they still watch it in that way.
Yeah.
And then go, oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll check out other things in black and white. I'm like, that's a very hopeful idea. It's not going to happen, but I like that he hopes that that's going to happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this was made with full artistic integrity and inspiration and passion.
Which is weird because Sony doesn't really do that when it comes to non-mainline Spider-Man stuff. Look at the entire Spum universe has turned into turned into a shit show and fell on its ass.
This one has the involvement of Lord and Miller, and
Does it?
they shepherded the project for this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't actually know that.
so it has like their stamp of approval, and
Right.
it completely earns it. And this is the best version of also quippy Spider-Man, quipping in battle.
Interesting. Well, because when it's young, I don't know, when it's young Spider-Man doing that, you're kind of like, ugh. It's got that same feeling of just like young people or whatever. But I feel like if it's an adult doing it,
Well,
like,
Tom Holland doesn't really do it that much.
not really, no.
Yeah, no.
And that's what I like about him a lot.
Yeah, Nick Cage does, but he's
Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I've been meaning to check this out. I'm going to
Recommend
try and do
And-
that soon. I'll touch on this briefly before you have your one as well. I did go to the premiere of the new Scary Movie, and all I'll say is watch Masters of the Universe. Just watch Masters of the Universe, please.
Do you know what annoyed me about the advertising of this Scary Movie?
Yeah.
It was all like, no safe spaces, humor is back.
Yeah.
But apparently it's just like the most unfunny garbage.
It's not like, I would say that it gets kind of funny towards the end because there's a bit more like meta commentary. There's a specific twist that's very meta, and I thought that's actually pretty good, but I wish I didn't have to sit through an hour of going, look, it's a little girl holding a pair of testicles. This dude has a small penis. Like, that's most of what the humor is. Or they even try and do a trans joke that, there was not like, my audience laughed at pretty much everything because I guess that maybe they'd sent out the invite to the right people. No one laughed at the trans joke.
Yeah.
That they have, which it was like, why did you need that? I don't know. I didn't hate it because I guess I was sitting next to someone who did enjoy the rest of the movies and kind of just goes with the flow of this. Not in that sense of he thinks they're hilarious, but he accepts they're bad and embraces that anyway. And that's cool, but I cannot honestly recommend...
What do they parody in the movie?
Everything. Like Get Out, Sinners, they do a bit of Weapons. It's mainly the new Scream movies, Scream 5 and 6, that kind of mash those plots together a little bit. And it's fine because the original Scary Movie was based on Scream, and I know what he did last summer, and it kind of throws in there, but then also does it does the substance, but then it also does John Wick for some reason.
Yeah, that's so it's more like epic movie, or something like that.
Look, I'll give it this, that it's better that the Wines are more in control because they're the guys that started the whole franchise.
Yeah,
But
That's supposed to be the selling point of the movie.
if you're looking for something to spend your money on, like, you know, movie tickets are pretty expensive nowadays. You can test that. Going to see Backrooms is a stupid amount of money you
Palace
spent.
Cinemas, I had to pay $30 for the most regular cinema.
I've told you this. We've had fights
But
about this.
why was it 30? It's supposed to be 22.
Because it's new release, as in like it's like new release, and you saw it on a weekend and not a cheap day.
I saw it Friday.
That's why, as in like you still saw it like prime viewing,
Right,
like
okay.
that sort of prime time there. Yeah, sorry, man, you fucked up.
It's fucking shit.
Do not go and pay to go see a scary movie. You can wait for it on streaming, and you'll have exactly the same experience. Watch Masters of the Universe instead. It's just much funnier. It's a much better time of the movies.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about Scary Movie.
Fuck it.
It's going to make more money than Masters of the Universe, and it shouldn't. It's honestly...
Yeah, but they're getting that nostalgia clip from it.
Yeah, and I
that's
think
why. If
that's
they do
what I hate
another
about
one, no one will watch it.
It's wrong nostalgia. It's nostalgia that remembers things poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But
yeah.
Masters of the Universe is good nostalgia in that it says, hey, this thing from the 80s is pretty stupid. We know that. And so we're just going to embrace that. I'm like, cool. Good for that. Good for you guys. But this one's pretending like the first movie was like a comedy classic. But these movies were hated at the time.
Yeah.
And they still...
People remember them fondly because they watched them with their friends at sleepovers.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
We'll move on. What was the other thing you wanted to talk about, Rhys? Another major...
Oh, I got 007 First Light, the video game.
Yes.
PS5. And in terms of like an origin story for James Bond, Amazon should be shitting themselves or hitting themselves because this would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
It is perfect modernization of James Bond. I really got hooked. The first level is obviously a tutorial where you're stuck in this situation, you got to get out. It's pretty standard. But then the plot is as such where they're like, hey, you acquitted yourself well there. We want to train you to be a 00 agent. And the first thing you do is you get sent to this training camp in Malta, which is, you know, beautifully rendered.
Yep.
And the first thing you do is you're driving this car, which is the first time you're driving a car. And you're like, whoa, there's some momentum here. And then a training montage kicks off.
Okay.
It's, you know, in like a classic movie, like he's shooting, he's learning the gadgets, he's learning to fight.
Yeah.
But you're actually playing during the montage.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's a good way to like teach you the controls
It
and
gets
everything.
you into the game at such a fast pace,
Yeah.
and you're just hooked.
I've heard that the opening is just like the people that played it gone like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this makes sense.
Exactly. It was great. And I don't know, like the guy they've got to play Bond, like the whole trimmings of it. It's like the freshness is like when Craig did it back in 2006.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same tone. This is a bit more lighthearted.
Yep.
So far.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just started it, but it's beautifully done, you know.
Yeah, this is one that I would absolutely love to get if I also didn't have an insane mountain of games. But there's more great games coming out. Like they got Wolverine game coming out in September,
Yeah.
and that looks awesome. I'm like,
looks
God damn it!
really-
Why do they have to keep making good games? Why can't they make some garbage for like a couple of years so I can catch up?
I mean, we haven't had a good Wolverine game in a while.
Well, no, since probably X-Men Origins Wolverine game in 2000.
No, I think that was the last time.
That was it. Well,
this seems just like sort of a modern version of that.
I mean, then again, I've heard people saying this about 007, like this is the best Bond game
since
ever.
GoldenEye.
Which,
Easy. But the gameplay is awesome.
but like GoldenEye is a movie tie-in that was on a different time. Like in terms of the whole thing of this, you can play this and you feel like Bond, like you do Bond stuff and not just play through the movie in some way. Like that people are just saying this is far and away better than any attempts to do that.
It is,
over the
because
years
you're
now.
encouraged, I'll say to you so far, in each level, you're encouraged to think like a spy.
That's what I've
like
heard.
a sneaky person.
Yeah, I watched I don't want to say streamer, but he's a guy on YouTube. He worked for Funhouse. Name's James Willems. Massive Bond fan, and he talked about this game. He said that when you play the levels, because it's done by IO Interactive, who did all the Hitman games.
Yes.
So they have a very good sense of how to put you in a scenario and say, okay, you cannot shoot your way out of this.
That's what it is, yeah. Because they do this kind of clever thing where, like, your enemies will have weapons, but they're sort of biometric locked to their fingerprints.
That's
so
fun.
you can't use them.
That's from Skyfall. That he has his
That's
gun
exactly,
that he
yeah.
can use when nobody else can.
Yeah,
So it's a reverse.
They reverse
Okay,
that.
That's
so,
fun.
you have to use hand-to-hand, or you have to bluff people.
Nice.
Or you have to be just sneaky. I mean, I assume gunplay will come into it later.
Yeah, of course.
But Yeah, no, I'm absolutely loving it. Loving the story, the setting, the tone.
Look, I will put it on my Christmas list and get it and be like, cool, I'll play that game in 3 years. But
Well, it's the first great Bond film since Casino Royale.
that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news though, which is that any potential sequel to this game, which I'm sure there will be,
Because Amazon is getting rid of IOI.
Yep. They're kicking out the studio that has made this great game for
This
them.
game
And it's
is
going to
made
be
a lot
done
of
by
money.
Amazon Game Studios, who have done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing.
But this game is making so much money. I mean,
You would think that if you want to keep making money, you keep the people that made the money for you. That
they
did
want to
the
do
good
it
job.
in-house because it's cheaper or something.
Exactly. That's what they want to do. And it's like,
So you got to do a big scale thing that they've never done.
yeah. So look, enjoy this while it lasts.
Yes.
Because it might not ever happen again at this point, unless something more catastrophic happens and the sequel is just like really bad and they go, oh, sorry, can we go back now? Can we go back to IO Interactive? Then they just go, no, actually we're on to Hitman 4 now.
Yeah,
Bye.
Exactly.
See you guys.
Go fuck yourself.
I think that about wraps it up for us.
do it.
We didn't have any emails, but it's
No.
okay.
Maybe next time.
If you do have any questions for us, want to contribute to the podcast, we'll certainly read out any of your questions on air. You can email us at moviesarebackpodcast@gmail.com. We're also Movies Are Back Podcast, I think, on Instagram. That's about it. I'm Christopher John, where it's Christopher.John, and in John there's a 0 on Blue Sky. I know that's a really weird link, but that's where I like to spend my time now because it's not toxic at all and it just gives me news and maybe some they don't call them tweets, we call them skeets.
Skeets.
But nobody calls them that, but still with some posts from people that I actually like and actually want to follow and not just random garbage. But that's about it. You can find Rhys nowhere, and that's
Right
how he
here.
likes it. Exactly. Right here. We'll be back in 2 weeks to cover more movie news and review roundup for whatever comes out soon. I think Disclosure Day
will be a big one.
And probably by that time we'll also do Supergirl.
Yes.
That'll be a big bumper episode. I'll probably reduce the news segment just so we can do those two movies.
Yeah, I imagine there'll be a lot to talk about
Yes,
with those two releases.
So stick around for that. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you later.
Bye.